Well, hi, thanks for joining me here this morning. Hey, we're looking out in my backyard at about a foot of snow that's on the ground outside. And hey, if you look in the top of that image, you'll see my power transformer on top of a pole there. Some wires in my backyard, and my neighbor's shed off to the left there. And you might wonder, hey, what's my cat doing? Here's what he's doing. Yeah, that's right. Okay, but here's what we're going to talk about, and we're going to look at. We're going to look at this old radio that I picked up for $10 this summer at a yard sale, as you see it here in my garage. This is the one I've been working on. This is the Westinghouse 636. Some of the close-up of some of the damage that we've already seen on the on it. I mean, this is why it was worth $10. Now, there's another radio I picked up another time. This time from an antique dealer who I kind of ran into, and for $20 I got that radio on the top, and that turns out to be the junior brother of the one below. The one below is the 636 and the one above is the 535. I've run them both through my shop now, and I'm getting ready to put them into a cabinet. I did a video called Arachnophobia. That's from this radio. So here we are yesterday starting to work on the cabinet, my cat and me, my cat Shadow and me. And you can see what I'm doing. I've got some green tape laid out here. And this no longer has much of its original coating on it. The coating here came off with a little bit of sandpaper so easily I could practically blow it off with my breath, really. So I sanded most of this off. It just took moments to get this off. I used the sanding block to do it. And I've stuck this green tape here along the edges of these pieces of trim. This piece here, and there's another piece over here. This one over here, I think I've already painted it, maybe. That's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to paint this. You see, you can paint these parts. Often they're originally painted, and often these are the parts that show the most mark and scratches on them. These protruding pieces here take a beating. So here's a little bit of a closer look at what I did here. So basically, I'm trying to do this with the least effort. Let me put it this way: I'm trying to get the ratio between effort and benefit as high as possible. The littlest effort bringing about the greatest benefit. There's no way I'm going to refinish this whole thing. I don't have those skills. So I'm doing kind of an 85% job, which is good enough for me. Anyway, so you can see here the tape. Now, one of the problems with putting this tape on an old cabinet like this is when you pull the tape off, it will pull off the original coating to some degree. It's bound to happen. When I put this on here, I knew when I pulled this off, some degree of damage will occur. I tested this a little bit in a few places. Didn't look like it's going to be that bad. There we are. So up here, I put a clamp on to hold this wood together. You can see I've started filling it up here, the big hole, the big ugly hole there. Now look at the hole I'm fixing is off the picture here, but this is the other side. And look, with this camera angle and with the light the way it is, you can see that this is also cracking right through here. But it looks like it's been worked on. I'm not the first guy. This is my repair here. I'm filling in, there's wood missing in here, so I'm putting in some plastic wood or fake wood there. That's my cat watching me very carefully. So now this is the this picture kind of stunned me actually. This reveals the degree of damage on the other side of this cabinet from the one I'm actually fixing. Like, this is the good side, and it never looked this bad to me until I saw this photo, and I've only seen this photo after finishing my cabinet work. So wow, that just looks terrible. But I think in the normal look, it doesn't look quite so bad. But this is the slot for the buttons, slot for the radio, slot for the volume control. The radio's upside down in this photo. That's just another look at my repair job here. I'm putting in a few layers of this wood as it recommends it, not to fill the whole thing with one big chunk, but to put it in layers. But again, I've got no skill. I've got some sandpaper though. Here I am working some more on the base. I've started painting it. See, this part's been painted now with a very, very dark brown color. Very easy to do. Here I am painting this trim. I just stopped for a minute to take this photo to show you the before and the after. There it is, all painted now. So I painted these two pieces, this edge here, and this base. And that has removed probably 80% of the stuff that your eye sees, no matter where you look, that tells you this is an old beat up radio. So I've removed to a large degree, the old beat up is gone already. There it is with the tape removed. See, my cat's keeping an eye on me down here. So again, I'm not trying to make this look like new. I don't even want it looking like new. This is almost, well, this is from 1938. So it was 80 years old. This should look like it's been around the block a little bit. You just don't want it to be ugly. So there it is, painted. So now I'm getting ready to do some of the fixing up of this. And all I do is so simple. I just take some stain, very dark stain, stick it on a little bit of paper towel and wash it all over a surface like this. But I wouldn't start with the top. I'd start with other surfaces that aren't so critical. I mean, I got to find out what's going to happen before I go at the top, just in case there's a surprise. So not quite sure. I guess I'm trying to take a picture of the top here, just showing that all the scratches and boot marks and everything are gone down here. I think that's why I took that. So now, now I've gone over the radio with a paper towel with some stain on it. I did this section by section. Each section, after putting a fair bit of stain onto it, pretty generous, so there's excess stain on it, and then wipe it right off with a paper towel. Not being terribly careful about anything, really. So there's the top now after I've put stain on it, and then the stain goes into all the little cracks and crevices, and it doesn't correct them. It changes them from white to dark. And the dark is much easier on the eye. There's a few here, a few scratches that I just couldn't make disappear. Don't really know why, because I really ladled in the stain, but it just didn't seem to take. So I don't know why, but like I said before, this is not going to look like new. I'm never going to look like new again. So here's the front just before I apply the stain. You can see these kinds of marks all along here, a few nicks. There's some paint on here. This is paint. All radios that have had a real life have a bit of paint on them somewhere. Okay, so that's after I've done the staining on the front now, and all those marks are gone. Now yeah, if you get up really close, sure, you still see stuff, but from a few steps back, this is starting to look really good. Even this, you know what I did here? I threw a little bit of paint on it first, the same paint I was using down here, and then at some point I brushed over it with a bit of stain. Again, the idea is for this to not grab your eye. The cabinet's empty right now, but once I put the radio in it and the buttons on it and all that stuff, there'll be eye-grabbing stuff right here. It's pulling your eye right into this area, so you really do have to kind of make this look good enough. But, you know, at a glance, that doesn't even look bad anymore. Yeah, it's just a photo, but still. I was lucky with this radio, the cloth is still looking great. So there we are. Now it's actually respectable. I've only spent, I don't know, half an hour or an hour maybe fiddling around with it here. That's another shot of the front. I left this paint on here. Now, maybe I shouldn't have, but I left it on because authenticity. There's a close-up of some of the wood detailing in here. These unusually shaped pieces in here, and this stuff here is kind of unusual. You can see the damage here. What I did on this case is I just threw a little bit of that brown paint on here, kind of smeared it around with a cloth a little bit, and then later I wiped it with stain briefly, just literally slapping it on here. And, you know, it came out okay. Again, it's another example of how these areas that are higher on the cabinet are the things that get all the knocks. There's a more of a close-up of my hack job repair. I wanted this to be in focus, but it's not. But that's just showing that the name of the radio is still quite prominent on the front. This is the slot for the push buttons to sit in. I discovered while I was doing this that there's a board on the back here. You can't see it, but it frames the opening that the buttons are in to make it a thicker slot, so these buttons can sit here. I've got these buttons in backwards, by the way, right now. They're in here pushing down on a piece of felt that I've glued back in the slot. The felt is to lubricate the buttons a little bit, make them slide easy, but I wanted to hold the felt down, so I just shoved these buttons in here, so they're backwards right now. And the clamp here is clamping this backboard with glue on it back into the radio, so it's solid again. Okay, well, at this point I realized, oh, I haven't done the power. I came back to get the chassis, and I realized, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of stuff I haven't done yet, including putting in the power cord. So here's the new power cord I've put in. I've strain relieved it right here. Okay, so there you can see how I've done it with a tie wrap through the hole. And I discovered after doing this that in fact these wires are laying fairly low relative to where the base, the radio chassis base is going to come on. Big metal plate that's going to come on here. So I got a little worried about the position of this wire, especially right here. There's a bit of copper potentially exposed right there. That wouldn't be good. So I tied them together here a little bit and did a few things to kind of move the wires in to the radio so they won't short up here. Yeah, I'm thinking about that a bit now. So I also realized that I hadn't put cover plates on. Let me just go back and see. So these coils here, which are the automatic tuning coils, they have a cover plate in this radio, which wasn't on. In fact, so I put it on. Here it is going on. It's held on by these screws, and I was putting this screw in. I was thinking about, wow, this piece of metal, this screw, it's all pretty close to this coil. Is putting these plates on, retuning the radio. Did I align this radio with plates off, and I should have put the plates on? Yeah, I guess it would be better if the plates are on. There's no issue. But is there an issue anyway now? I don't know. We'll find out. And then I remembered I hadn't dealt with this loose, shaky tuning control, which is unacceptable in the radio, because you're going to grab this control, and this knob wiggling all over the place is just going to give you the EBGB feelings about this radio. You really want this to be smooth and velvety as you tune the radio. Velvety, eh? Yeah. Velvety would be the thing to do. Let's see if we can fix it now. Okay, let's carry on from here. Boy. So I have been examining this a little bit just before I've turned the camera on now. And I'm really tempted to just try to fix up the soldering job here and leave it at that. Solder to melt. Like that. Well, I gotta give that a try. Okay. I think it's probably the best approach. I don't think I'm really trying to melt the solder onto the chassis or onto this brass part. I'm just trying to fuse the solder together there, really. I don't want to melt the whole thing down, because I really need this held in the right position. And maybe some melting has to happen before this can go into the really right or best position. So I'm going to hang on to this thing. It's going to get hot. This is going to get hot for sure. It's brass, and that's it's not going to work out so well. Let's see. What have I got here? Well, maybe just hang on with this. I'll be able to feel the heat coming. Okay. How's this? Put this on the platform here, and that's not too helpful right now. I put the brake on here. There. want it rotating on me. Okay. I get this on the wrong angle, it's gonna not fit through the hole properly in the front of the radio. There we go. Here we go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna catch my sleeve on fire here for sure. There. The paper here catch on fire. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but got my hand on the chassis here. The chassis is going to get hot. Okay, anything else go wrong during this that I can think of ahead of time? Okay, there we go. It's all going to go at once, I think. It's melting now. Come on. Run together. I can feel the heat coming through to my fingers. I can feel the heat under here. Okay, I have a feeling that didn't do anything. Well, let's just let it harden up a little more. Let's wreck it now. Pretty good. I just hope that's straight and true. And it still turns. Yeah. It's good to see, and it's protruding a little bit further forward. This is more correct than it would kind of fallen back in, and this was out of alignment, which can lead to a string derailment. Excellent. Oh, feels good. Okay. If there's any good bang or something like that, it's probably going to pop off. So I don't plan to bang it. Okay. Great. Hey, wow, that wasn't nearly as bad as I expected. Fantastic. Okay, so here's some of the other last parts to go. I've cleaned the front plate here. I've cleaned all these buttons as best I could. I realized in the course of working on these knobs, these are not the original knobs. These are knobs somebody else put on the radio. They don't really match properly. This one doesn't even fit properly. I spent a long time going through my little box of knobs looking for alternates to go on this radio. Clean these guys up. Of course, they have words in here. You know, that says CKEY. That's a Canadian radio station. And a lot of the words, of course, are missing. And so I was going to deal with this, and I decided not to in the end. I'll leave that for another time. That's my art shot. Soldier standing there. So now we're ready to test the radio. You see it in the background here. The radio's in, knobs are on, microphone in place, antenna ready to go. There's the plug to plug in the radio there. And that's the tuning coil. I've never explained this antenna. I should really explain it a little better, but not right now. Here's the tuning thing. Some of this is connected to the antenna. Some of it is not. This is a lot. I do a lot of experimenting. A lot of my experimental debris remains behind. That's what some of this is. Okay, I think we're ready to hear what this radio really sounds like. So I'm pretty excited at this point. I'm really excited. I worked quite a while on this radio. I've taken it from a $10 radio to, I think that's going to be worth a couple $100 there. And I worked really hard on making it work well. So let's hear it. Okay, let's give this guy a test. This is my special radio sound testing room that I've designed, and occasionally we do laundry in there too. I'll switch to the microphone you see in the picture there in front of the radio. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with, actually all we're going to try is AM radio. We're using this antenna here. Well, it's a short demonstration. Well, it's the next day now. I've had a chance to lick my wounds and think about what was happening with that radio. So I didn't really say anything, but you must have heard the pops. Those pops were very scary to hear live in front of the radio. They sounded like some very significant short circuit. In the video, it's quite apparent the first pop includes a deadening of the radio with a hum. It goes away within a fraction of a second, and I missed it. Well, then I listened to the radio kind of playing and popping. The last pop is replaced by a hum. Now that scared me. Okay, that's why I kind of run over and pull the plug and then stand there looking at it thinking, oh my gosh, all this time and this is what I got. But that's okay. I've, like anybody, I've licked my wounds, I feel a little better, and I'm ready to go at that chassis there again. Now, just to the right of that radio, this one here. This radio here. This chassis. Okay, so my next project is to assemble that chassis into that cabinet. That's the 535, brother of the 636. That's in the big radio there. And I'll get two of these guys going at the same time, or maybe two of them not going at the same time. And that last radio that you see down under there, well, I fixed that one quite a while ago, and the owners are showing no interest in it. So that's why it's still sitting here. So thanks so much for watching so far. I got a busy day shoveling snow and doing things like that. Tomorrow I will probably work on the other radio, the 535, get it together, see if it works once I have it together, and then we'll go from there. But for sure, I'm not giving up on the big old guy. No. That's not what's happening. So thanks so much for watching, my series on this. As usual, it's a struggle right to the end.